So the game I was just showing you guys.
Are you live streaming?
Yes.
Hey!
Let's get the moderators.
We got our stream going. All right. So our goal is going to be something that is going to be a using what are called swing components in order to build a 2D game. Now, this is part of your final project for Computer Science A. Your final project is to build. Remember the text adventure game from first quarter? Kind of like that. Any kind of software thing you could think of using these swing components. So go and fire up your notes / Dr. Java, and I'll show you how we're going to go through this. Let me know when you all are ready. Now the file that we're going to be beginning with is not going to be the file that we put our main runner actually in. Yeah. So go ahead and open up Dr. Java. We do have some things left to do. All right. Val, do you want me to put you in timeout again? Okay. All right. So, y'all ready? Ready to get into the swing of things? Yeah, you get it? Because we're gonna be using a thing called Java Swing, and it's gonna be. So let's go and begin. Y'all ready? You have Dr. Java open? All right, I'm gonna go and begin. If you're not quite there, go ahead and try to catch up soon. So what we're looking at today is to build a 2D game, right? So it's not going to be text this time. We're actually going to be working with a more legitimate looking program, right? Because when you build bootlegs, you want to actually have some images in them. That's the main point of the bootleg. Or if you're working in your own games, well, this is how we do it. So we're going to start off with what I like to call the game panel. This is going to be where we put all of our images. And I'm going to put this in its own folder. I recommend you do the same. I'm going to try and build Cat Monster Man. And we're going to see how we do with this. Alright. So this game panel is going to be what holds all the images in the program. So you guys saw what I had before, right? I had this black background. I had this cat guy, all that. So those are images I made, and they're all going to go into this game panel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the game panel every time I move Cat Monster Man. So the first thing I need to tell you about is parallel universes. No, actually, sorry, that's a different one. This J panels. I don't know if any of you got the reference of those. Anyway, a J panel is when you have a program, like perhaps this one I'm about to bring back up. When you have a program, you have this big window, but then you also have on it these things called panels. All this black section here is our panel for the Cat Monster Man game. So we're extending it, so we're inheriting from that panel, and we're going to add some things onto it. A normal panel doesn't really have all the functionality of drawing backgrounds and such that we're going to give it, because we want to specifically make a game panel that's going to hold our game. Now, in order to do that, because if you try to compile it, you'll notice it again an error, because it cannot find the symbol JPanel. You actually do have to import this. Now, the import for these things that we're going to need is the Java Extended Library .swing. Now, the swing components are where all these things are stored. And now I'm doing .asterisk at the end there. Do you guys know what asterisk would mean? Everything in there. So I'm not just importing the swing library, I'm importing everything in the swing library. I'm not just getting one thing, not just getting JPanel or JFrame, I'm getting all of it. That's just a little thing I might do for that. Alright, so what we're going to need from there is we're going to now go ahead and override a certain part of what JPanel has. Now, JPanel has this thing in it called the paint component. Now, that is not an abstract method. It's got everything in it. But we're going to now override it. Now, do you guys remember what override it means? What's it mean? Yeah, okay, so it chooses one method over another, and why would it choose this method over the original JPanel's method paint component? Why would it be more in favor of this one than that one? Someone? If the method exists in the parent and the method exists here in the child, what do you think it means to override it? So it only uses the one in the child. Very good. So yeah, what's going to happen is paint component is going to be called every time something updates with the JPanel. This is because that method is normally just called whenever something happens with the JPanel. A bunch of things are happening behind the scenes that we're not going to see or work with. Instead, what we're going to be working with is just simply the results of it. So, yeah, okay, let's see. We're going to go and start sectioning out our layers. So in a game, you might have a background on the very back, right? Then you might have some things on top of it. And then you might have a character in front of it, right? Maybe there's something in front of that character. So we're going to actually organize our thing into layers. So I'm going to just simply represent that with comments for now. And there could be any number of layers, of course. It's just a way to kind of section your code in a wise way. We're making methods for drawing the backgrounds and drawing the images. So we're going to just start with draw background. Now let me explain what this I'll explain what this G thing is soon. I'm just going to go ahead and start writing now draw background, because you'll understand that draw background is not normally there. It's just simply something that we are making. Do you guys understand the design of this program so far? Anyone have any questions? Yeah, that's a good idea to do. The override command just simply lets the program know that yes, you are overriding it. Not technically required, but also not a bad idea. It's actually a very good idea, because then it alerts any programmers to the fact that you are overriding that method, and that they should understand that method does exist in the parent. So, we just started our swing components. Okay. Good. So, let's go ahead and get an idea of how to draw our background. So, the background we want is, of course, going to be a big, just, solid black background, right? That's lame. Get creative. What's more creative than the color black? A creative black background. Let's go. I like it. All right, let's do this. So, we have cats in the game. Cats in the corners. Cats in the cradle. No silver spoon. So, we're going to go ahead and write the draw the draw background method. So, we're going to put all of our stuff for drawing the background right here, because it's something that we're going to call a lot. It's called an abstraction. Now, to talk about that, let's first talk about the graphics class. Graphics, if I could just pull up the API here real quick. I wasn't, but I haven't watched it yet. I hear it's good. I hear it's really good. I hear it's really bad. I have no idea what to think. Yeah, I've just heard both. The graphics class contains a bunch of methods that have to do with building images and building little colors and shapes and such. So we're actually going to be using that graphics class, even though we haven't really made a graphics object anywhere or import. Well, we have kind of imported it, but we haven't really made a PIV for it anywhere. We're going to do that anyway, and it's going to work because of how it is here. Now, here's something about it. We're going to change it slightly. We're going to actually, instead of using it as graphics, we're going to use it as graphics 2D, which is an extension of the original graphics class. So it's not just graphics, it's graphics 2D. So I'm taking the graphics object I was given, and I'm going to continue to use that. And now extend it a little bit. Alright, let's go ahead and do this now. I'm going to show you how to do this part. I'm going to set the color of it first. And then the background is just simply a rectangle.
So is graphics 2D like another class?
Yes. Okay. Now set color is going to change what the fill color is on our graphics 2D object. Those of you who have done Python with that turtle thing, you might be kind of familiar with that kind of idea where it's like change the pin color and then draw stuff with it. There you go. Probably does. Yeah, there we go. In fact, I was thinking about using Canvas for this, but I decided this is a little better. Alright, now, with that, I'm going to change some things about it. Because right now, I'm making something that's at 0, 0, and is at a certain width, is at 300 pixels wide and 200 pixels tall. But I don't know how big our game panel actually will be. So I'm going to do something intelligent. And, you guys hurt my feelings, you know that? And I'm going to make PIVs for width and height up here, and then I'm going to use them down here. Now, as you might imagine, I'm going to set these later, but for now, I'm at least going to have them up here, so that way I can use them down here. So what I'm doing is, based on however big the panel is going to be, I'm going to make a rectangle that big for the background. So you guys get the layers of my program and how I'm using the graphics 2D class here. One of the nice things about swing classes and such is you might not need to understand too much about the low level stuff. A lot of it has been abstracted for you, and that you just simply need to know the general things of how they work. That color class exists, and that color.black gets you black, color.blue gets you, yeah. It's all it's all stuff that you would guess. You would probably, assume would happen. So we've basically made our game panel now. It's got the ability to repaint itself with a background and to actually build its background. Trigger. Oh yeah, that's right. So graphics now is something else we have to import. So I want you to go to the top of your imports, and we're going to import java.out.star. Out! How else would you say that? Ought? I thought that I ought? Or I thought about something that somebody ought. No, that was Dr. Seuss, actually. The Lorax. I thought that I ought? Okay, good. I don't think there's enough violence in Dr. Seuss to be Shakespeare, really.
So many your mom jokes.
He did. A lot of inappropriate humor in there. Yeah. So, you guys now have a game panel. Let's actually put a game for it to do into. I'm going to make another class. And this time, it's actually going to, it's going to be Cat Monster Runner. So, as you might imagine, this is the class that's actually going to have our main method in it. And again, I don't know what game you guys are actually going to try and make, or if in the end you're going to make a game at all. Oh, okay, fine. Some of you I know what kind of twisted game you're about to make, what unholy monstrosity you're about to unleash upon the world. Probably individual, but I guess if you guys have a really big project, I could consider group. Submit your proposal to me. Alright, so let's do this. You have this runner. So this runner obviously is going to need a game panel of some sort. Alright, and we're going to have to use our thing here. Alright, so we're going to have a game panel, right? So we have to actually build one. So there's our constructor for it. But now let's think about it. How big is this game panel currently? Yeah. That was what I had in the other one here, right? Actually, in the other one, don't I have just height and width? Right? Just height and width, right? So, does anyone know how big this game panel actually is? Well, have you set those values? So does the compiler know how big it is? No. So let's go ahead and give it some extra stuff. Let's go ahead and actually make it so that way it can handle being given sizes for its constructor. So we're going to build a constructor for it. Public game panel. It's going to take a width and a height. As you might imagine, I'm going to set width to width, W, and height to H. And with that, I've at least saved those values. But here's the thing. It's not just about what I save these values as. I also need to actually change the panel itself. So the panel itself has this method called set preferred size. And this is the preferred way of actually making a new thingy thing. Whatever it's called. Oh, of actually setting the preferred size. So there are things like set max size and set min size, and honestly I've never gotten them to work. So I just use set preferred size and to test you when you passed. Good job. So I'm also including something here that you have not seen before. A dimension. Do you know what that means? Yeah, it's dimensions. That's all. I just built a new dimensional object that's that wide, that tall, and that's going to be the new preferred size. Yes. And that's why I just did the star, because we're going to use quite a few of them. And even though I might like to list literally all of them out that I'm using, so like my program's having like 20 lines of import, still, there's no reason for me to force that on you. So instead, I'm going to do that. So now we have actually a way of setting how big our game panel is, and we have a way of actually drawing a background onto it. I'm going to compile it, and if I try to run it, you'll notice that not a thing happens. What? I think I did. I don't remember. Width, then height. No. You remember what the original Cat Monster game looked like, right? I mean, it was a classic game, really big back in. It was Game of the Year actually last year. Cat Monster Run. Now, the panel is the black part, right? With the cat monster. The rest of it, though, is a thing called a JFrame. And that's what we now need to make. Now, for now, later we will make a class for it, but for now, all we really need is to build a little JFrame here. And give it a title. Now, with that, oh yeah, we have to also import it. Import java x.swing.star. Or I could also just change that to .jframe, and that would work, because now I've specifically imported that class. And if I were to run it, you'll see it still won't, but we'll do our tops. Actually, no, I'll just do that part now. No reason not to. Top dot set visible to true, so that it's now actually going to be seen. And here it is. Wait, where is it? It's hard having two monitors. There we are. Now, since we haven't actually added our game panel to it, it's blank, right? So this is where we move into actually adding our things on there. But we have to talk about layouts first. I'm going to answer Shrieker's question. All right. Cat Monster Man will live. Fighter of the Dog Monster Man? I'm not sure if I can turn that into a song. All right. So let's talk about layouts. Now, you've seen what the window itself looks like, right? Yeah. Let's see, which class is that in? In game panel? Did you make sure to have both of these?
Yes.
Is it a capital D for graphics 2D? Must be a capital D for graphics 2D. Alright, there we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into this part. So there are many actual layout schemes for JFrames. A layout is basically where it's going to be on our eventual window. My favorite is the GridBag layout. I learned it in college, and I prefer it to any other kind. It's also a really good one. Now, in order to actually use this GridBag layout, we have to actually make a GridBag layout. GBL was new, GridBag layout. And even though we're not really going to give it anything or set anything about it, it's actually got everything set right now. It's able to start adding things. And it's going to add them in a grid-like way to our frame when we actually use it. So I'm going to go ahead and set the layout right. No, stop. Good. Okay. Let's set layout. And I'm going to give it, what layout object can I give it? I got one layout object. What am I going to give it? GBL. There we go. Just testing to see if you're still awake. I'm hoping I'm not boring you. You were doing physics during, or something, during decompression. Okay. This is decompressing. Programming is the fun part. Oh yeah, so now you have to also import that. So I'm going to change that to, I actually don't remember which import it is that takes it, so we're going to see which one. I'm going to try switching to that. Okay. I think it's in the out. I'm pretty sure it is. Just change it to a star, so because we'll have other things later. But yeah, so now we're good. Now we're able to start adding things with GridBag layout. The next thing that we need are called GridBag constraints. And though this seems like a lot of setup just to get it, I promise it's a very good payoff. Because in the end, what we get is a really easy way of adding things and controlling how we add them. So these constraints are going to determine how we actually add the game panel to our top. The top.add part is going to be here. So this is add the game panel. This is how we actually add it. This line here that I just commented. And it takes the game panel we're adding and the constraints that we have, which I'll describe momentarily, and adds them to the top window that we're using, the JFrame that we're using. So the constraints themselves, basically because top has its layout set to the GridBag layout, so it knows how to process GridBag constraints. The constraints themselves are going to determine what X and Y coordinates it will have on our grid. And they're apparently, oddly enough, grid X and grid Y are public variables, public instance variables. I'm not really sure why. Like, it's entirely against encapsulation, but yeah. Honestly, they probably should have just been stacked. I don't know. But anyway, so because of this, it's going to add it to 0, 0, which is the top left corner of our grid. However, our grid, with only one thing added to it, is only one cell big. So it's just that one cell. Now with all of that, we will have added it. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to do two more things actually down at the bottom here. Because otherwise our program will not work properly. First, do you guys have any questions on what I have right here? I'm not going to do any radical changes, but it's some things that you have to put in order for it to come out decently. One is to pack the frame. Pack, it means it's going to resize it so that it fits everything that is in it comfortably. The other one is set default close operation. And I'd go a little deeper into this if I thought it was really important for you guys today. If you want me to tell you more about it, I can. But basically all it means is that the X button in the top right corner of the thing will actually work. So with that, you can go ahead and run your program, and you should have a black box. What happens is when you hit X, I'm glad you asked, when you hit X, it closes the frame. But it keeps running in the background.
You never escaped that monster man.
Just because you can't see him doesn't mean he can't see you.
That's like you see what?
Yeah, basically the program keeps running, but it doesn't show up on the screen. Right? So it's like, maybe that gives you an idea for like keyloggers and Java hacking matrix.
So easy.
Yeah.
So bad.
I know, right?
Okay, wait.
Have you made a keylogger before?
No, I built a different kind of thing.
What?
Just a little virus. It was a fun exercise. I call it.
Why don't we do that?
I call it job
I just
security.
hacked into the 10.
No, I'm kidding. My little thing isn't a virus, but
Aren't they like security? Or that. How bad is your has any sound? Would you still be able to hear it?
oh, yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
Boom. And watch, when I hit X, it'll actually close. Otherwise, it's technically just running in the background.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes!
That's so cute.
Did you set it up?
Yeah, it is.
That is where you're going to have to import hours. Here, I'll scroll up for it. Alright, let's see. Back close, let me show. Alright, the next thing we'll be going into is the draw image and what a buffered image class is. And then I'll let you guys start building your own little character. Your OC, if you will. Yeah. No. Not getting caught up in your catchy songs. What? Sure. Hold it. Gotta have the same name. If you're gonna do it, so jab that out. People layout, space, attic,
Or it's not free stuff.
Vicar, I'm really not sure. I'm sorry. Check and see if yours is the same as the person next to you, and that's what's called visible. How's it? Visible. Click visible. Yeah, it should be. This? No, maybe
I just looked at it and said what's in case.
Oh.
And then I also have like the air.
Alright, so guys, are you okay with this idea? That I move into the draw image class, method, and then take care of some of the other errors in a moment after that? Go ahead and follow along as best you can, filling this part in. Because I just have one more thing to do before turning you loose. Alright, so let's talk about our panel here. So we have a background, right? And that was pretty simple to set up. So now we're going to add another thing. We're going to add what I like to call draw image. And it's going to take a G also. Now, you might be thinking, well, okay, but what image am I going to draw? My preferred idea, my way, is to go ahead and make a private buffered image up here. And that's going to be the image that we draw every time. And then we just set the image to something else to change what it is. If you might choose to go a different way, maybe for now just go ahead and check out this way of doing it. So I have a PIV up there, and I'm calling a thing called draw image. Now draw image of course doesn't exist, neither does buffered image just yet. Let me go ahead and import that. Oddly enough, when you import something from a group like out, it won't import the sub of those things that are in there. So like the image library inside the out library, we have to actually import all of its pieces, so that way we can actually get the buffered image. Then it's just going to tell us that draw image doesn't exist, which is correct. It does not exist yet. So with that in there, and me finding my mouse, you guys ready to go ahead and write the draw image method? Alright. So we're going to do this. Public void draw image graphics G, and I think that's it. So again, we're going to make the graphics 2D. And so long as my pick is, if my pick's null, I don't want to draw it. But otherwise, I'm going to use the 2D graphics method draw image with pick. I'll just put it in 0, 0 for now. And I don't know, I guess it's about 200 wide, 300 tall. And lastly, I'm going to write this at the end there. And when that is done, go ahead and start designing your sprites. So most of what you have, I can't actually fit in one. Here, let me move some of this code around so that way you can see what we have here. There you go. That way. I'm going to try getting all the methods together so that way you can see what I got. There you go. So now you see what I've got here is I have this new draw image method that's going to go ahead, and so long as our pick that the PIV image that we made isn't null, we're going to go ahead and draw it out in 0, 0, 200 pixels wide, 300 pixels tall. You might change those values. That's okay. It resizes it depending on what you want. Now, at this point, do you guys have any questions about this? Yeah. Yes.
Mine's PNG. I could have said black hole.
The king is lost.
I made it a thing.
Yeah. Tell you what. If you guys want, has everyone gotten their program to work? If your program's working, start building your image. Guys, you get out at 8:40. You got plenty of time. Sure. Hey, paint is pretty good, you know? Don't build something to you. Oh. Go to this line. There you go. Line 16. So guys, I'm going to scroll down past the draw image method to just have you probably have the paint component in there already, so that you can see the constructor and the draw background. Comma, this. After the every comma, and then the word this. You're basically handing it the game panel itself, so it knows where to put it.
Yeah, I don't think I have one.
What's that have then? So guys, go ahead and start designing your sprite.
Wow, good job, you freaking loser. That's what you're doing in Python, man.
There you go. And then make sure to add in this private instance variable for pick. Buffered image. So guys, here's something a little different. I'm going to show you how to actually Alright guys, getting your program to run. Why not? Did you import? Out. Now, for those of you who are wondering how am I going to build a character, allow me to take you through that process. It's going to be phenomenal. Did you spell it right? Look at it. Look at it. What I got here. Look at it. Is that how you should spell it? There we go. All right. So the best way to do one of these is to pull out the old crayon, make it big. Don't make your thing too big. This is actually a huge picture. All right, this is better. So now, I already made Cat Monster Man, so I'm gonna make his opposite, Dog. So Dog, of course, has more rounded ears. I'm gonna have to make this brand a little smaller. Of course, Dog has more rounded ears, and then maybe it's like this. And of course, the feet are the hardest part, but like, I'm kind of a master at this. So there he is. And now for the face, you're gonna have to go to the colored pencil. And X's work. X's work for eyes.
What brand do you use? I'm only designing.
Oh, for the brand? I don't know. I don't worry about brands. No, X's work for eyes. They're good for eyes, I promise.
Yeah, no, I know watermark.
Cat Monster Man is a dead man.
And then I think dogs have like rounded noses. I don't know. I haven't lived with dogs before.
No, he has to
It looks like he's in so much pain.
Is this what a dog looks like?
Yep. You go to my house looks exactly like that. Perfect.
How big should I?
Mine is currently about 300 by 400. Now, what color is your dog? What color is your dog?
Mine's white.
Mine's black.
Mine's straight up white.
Mine's pink. It's got those little like.
Pink?
Wait, my board is pink. Oh my god.
Mr. Circus, can you make it mouse monster? It looks like you're.
Well, that's a good point.
Well, not now. Not that I have so.
That's the part that looks ridiculous. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out our oil brush and go back over it, because right now we have all this white space in between the crayon and the paint. So you see I'm filling that in. So this is actually a nice little paint hack for you. It is. We're streaming.
Oh, true.
All right, and then his body, I think. What do you mean?
Yeah, like maybe green around it.
Yeah, gotta make it spicy.
You're right. Spicy is my middle name. All right, green.
Yeah, do it.
Purple. I'm glad we can enjoy this and really have some fun with programming.
Kevin's still like this. Wait, no.
Middle names usually go in between.
It gives it definition.
Oh, we're not enjoying
Highlight?
we're going to
That's what you think. Programming is a full design.
Oh my gosh.
Perfect. I'll do the same for his feet. We might have to get a little scaled down.
Oh, no, I gotta change the color now. You can't have all the same thing.
No, we're not. We're doing this part purple. And
Yeah, I know, but we already used it. We gotta make it spicy.
we'll make the other foot a different color. And then we've got like,
Wait, no, go to edit colors.
Well, we're just gonna do like no. I think this one works pretty well. Let's not get too distracted from our major goal. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna save this. It's my Java painting folder. Now, this is how I want you to set this up. I actually don't know where I have. Okay, wait. I put this here. I put it in quarter 4. I put it into snippets. Cat Monster Man. And inside there, I'm gonna make an images folder. Make an images folder, and this guy's name is Dog. No, the cat monster I already made. So that's Dog. Dog is pretty cool. I'm gonna kind of shift him so that way there's no there's less white. So it's more just like the creature itself, and voila, we have him. If we have time to import, we'll do that. Go ahead and start building your creatures, your designs, or just build unimage to use, even if you don't finish. Go ahead and build unimage that you will use. Use another imports. I'll show you which one. Yeah, include that third one. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the stream.